What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a great day and excited about today's video. I know that I am. Today we're talking about, boom, student loans. All right, let's get to the money. So when it comes to student loans, there's really three major problems that I want to make sure that we talk about today. The first one is the amount of the student loans. The updated figures just came out for 2018, and it's really bad. The average person that is graduating college is coming out with an amazing $37,000 in debt. Now that's just the average, right? That means there's people below that, but it also means that there's a lot of people that are above it too. And I know what it's like to be way above the average. We had to pay off a grand total combined of $265,000 in debt. And guess what? We managed to get all of that paid off in 5 years. It was seriously one of the best moments me and my wife have ever had together.
Pay now, debt free.
Woohoo!
That's it.
Amount paid.
Woohoo! Give me a hug,
You're
babe.
done.
Good job!
We're done.
It's also kind of sticky and I almost ruined our laptop, but what can I say? I am a rookie champagne bottle sprayer. I don't do it very often. Okay, so we have to talk about one really important thing. If you're gonna watch anything on this video, just watch this one thing, and I promise you, if you think like this, it will change the way that you deal with money for the rest of your life. Sure, this may not come off as super sexy or really exciting. We're not riding on yachts or doing anything like that, but the people who are riding on yachts, they think about money like this. You know what, now that I think about it, that's actually great advice. I think everybody should have a friend that has a yacht. You know what they say? The best boat is your best friend's boat. Okay, so this is it. If you just watch and take away one thing from this entire video, this is what I want it to be. When it comes to money on a daily basis, and especially when it comes to big purchases like a house or student loans, don't think about money in terms of amounts. Think about it instead in terms of percentages. Okay, so that may have not hit home. You may have been like, Steven, like obviously think about it in percentages. Like what? I'm already doing that, or really percentages? That's the big secret. Yeah, that's the big secret. I've worked with a lot of students. I've worked with a lot of adults that have graduated from college that are very smart, intelligent people. And the problem isn't that people don't know not to do it. The problem is that they don't, because it's not a habit. It's not something we've been told we need to do on a daily basis because we aren't taught about money. I mean, sure, high school was great. I learned about really useful things like the biology of frogs or the Pythagorean theory. Remember cell organelles and learning about mitochondria? Look, the only thing I needed to know was that mitochondria were the batteries of cells. That's it. I mean, if I wasn't going into the medical field, was it really important that I learned the plasma membrane or the ribosomes and the cytoplasm? See, I didn't even remember it. I had to look it up on my computer and Google it, but I remember I learned it though. Okay, so let's start talking about why it's so important to get out of debt as quickly as possible and all the awesome cool stuff you can buy with it if you do. But in order to do that, you've really got to understand why interest rates make such a big difference. Okay, it's time to bring in the handy dandy whiteboard. All right, so this is what we're gonna talk about. This is the average example of the average student loan over the average time period of what everybody takes to pay it off, which is 20 years. Yeah, I know, 20 years. That's how long it's taking for the average person to pay off their student loans. Now granted, the majority of people that are in this problem haven't even had a chance to reach that 20 years yet, but they're well on track for it. Okay, so here's our really average situation again from 2017. It was only 3.7%, right? That doesn't seem like much. And the average payment every month for everybody, based off of this information, was $218 a month. Again, you're like, come on, Steven, I'm gonna come out making $50,000, $60,000 a year, I think, right? Is that really that bad? Yeah, it is. Because guess what? After 20 years, you're not paying off $37,000. You're actually paying off $52,418. That is a difference, my friends, of over $15,000. And that was just last year, and that was a good scenario. Let's look at what the average is already for this year and how much worse it is. All right, so here we are just 1 year later in 2018, and this is the average of what we're looking at already. Okay, so we've got 4.5%, which is less than a 1% change, by the way. Keep that in mind as we go through this. That's an average of $234 a month now. And guess with that little change what that's going to be after 20 years. If you guess $56,179, you are 100% correct. And you're a complete math whiz, by the way. So in less than 1 year, that same student loan is costing you an extra $4,000 almost over the course of the entire loan for no reason at all other than that's what they want to charge you. If you haven't started to break a sweat yet, then wait for this one because again, those are just the averages. I was just helping somebody with their budget just the other day and guess what? They had 6%, which still isn't the worst rate that I've ever seen. But let's run the same problem on 6%. So if we look at this example from 6%, which is only 1.5% more, that really doesn't seem like that big of a jump, right? And actually 4.5% is really closer to the baseline than it is the average. When I work with people, I see a lot of 6% that are on their rates, right? So that jumps us up to $265 a month. We're really starting to add on a lot of stuff just for the sake of paying the bank back. We're getting no extra benefits from this. And what do you think that rate looks like after 20 years? What? You guessed $63,619? No, you didn't. Neither did I. But the point is, just off that 1.5% increase, that equals another $7,500 that you have to pay back for no reason other than that's the rate that they gave you. So that means if everything is average in this scenario and you end up with that, and then you just happen to get a 6% interest rate, which by the way is going up all the time, that means over 20 years you're gonna pay an extra $26,619 just to pay off this loan that everybody else is having to pay off too at different rates for different reasons. Now I don't know about you, but I could do a lot with $26,000. I could do a lot with $10,000. And throwing it away to some bank just so I could borrow their money so I could get an education and go get a job, well, yeah, that's not exactly what I had in mind spending it on. Did you? An easy way to remember what to do is this. It's not 4.5 minus 6 that gives you the difference. Keep drawing that line all the way across, and it's 4.5 divided by 6. So if you remember when you're doing this, you've got to convert it to a decimal. So 75 minus 1 is essentially going to make this a 25% difference is how much it grew. Stop making fun of my twos, okay? Try writing on a whiteboard like this. It's not very easy. So here is where you're being tricked. A lot of times when you go and you're talking to creditors or bankers, they'll look at that and they'll just say, we couldn't get you at 4.5, which is what we advertised, so we're only gonna have to give you 6. Don't worry, it's only a 1.5 more. Well, guess what? That sounds a lot better than saying, okay, it's actually a 25% increase on the loan. That's why this is such a big deal. Are you getting a 25% raise at your job every year? Or are you getting a 25% increase in the value of the things that you already own? No, probably not. So because of that, we're left to make up the difference. And where does that come out of? Savings or other money, or we go into debt for it even more. In that example with the 6% interest, think about it. An extra $26,000 over 20 years, that's over $1,000 every year that I could be putting towards a vacation. This is a social injustice that, again, it doesn't matter who you are as long as you're going to college and getting in debt for it, just so you could potentially get a better paying job that probably isn't even relevant to your degree in the first place. So if you're a junior or a senior in high school, or you just got into college and you're wondering, Steven, what can I do about this? Here's a couple things. So one thing that a lot of people do overseas is something called a gap year. And that's just taking a year that's in between your graduating year of high school and signing up for college and doing a couple internships, working at a couple different places, checking out different fields to see what it is that you actually really like. Because the truth of the matter is 80% of people that graduate with a college degree don't end up in anything that has to do with their actual field. The reason that's a really big deal takes us to our second point. Graduate in 4 years, not the average of, no, that's 6 years. A lot of people are graduating with their 4-year degree, but it's taking them 6 years to do it. The reason that's a big problem when they're not doing it in 4 years is because a lot of people do get scholarships when they go to college, but they're only good for those first 4 years. So when people change their majors and switch things up, and it takes them a longer time to graduate with a degree, then that's when they really start tacking on a lot of extra costs and have to take out a lot of extra loans. And the other big thing is this: do not wait to pay off your student loans. If you have a job in school and you have any extra income, pay them off while you're in school. When you graduate, sometimes there's a couple months to where they'll give you deferment, right? Be paying it off during that deferment period. Well, if you already graduated, then none of that really applies to you, but don't worry, there's still some things that you can do, and actually, it's kind of a big deal. So if you've already graduated and you have loans, then if any of those loans are over 4.5%, which is for today's date, July of 2018, if you're watching this in the future, okay, you're all watching this in the future, I get it, don't get technical with me. The point is, if you are watching this and it's much later past July of 2018, more than likely the rates have gone up or they've definitely changed. So go refinance right now, okay? Seriously, drop it and just go. Check out refinance companies. There are different ones like commonbond.co, SoFi.com. Make sure your credit's in order because they're definitely gonna check that. And then the last thing is this: no matter what, this is the most important single determining factor of how quickly you're gonna get out of debt. Make a budget and pay it off as quickly as you possibly can. Look, I want you to know something. There's nothing special about me. Therefore, if I can do it, I know you can do it. I am your biggest fan. Anybody who is out there and has any kind of debt that they're trying to get out of, specifically student loan debt in this particular video, I want you to know that you can do it. You can get out of it. You just have to build a budget. You just have to stick to it. And then the freedom that you will experience will be one of the greatest things of your life and will set you up to thrive. Stop for a second and just dream. What would you do if you had an extra $400 a month, an extra $700 a month, an extra $1,300 a month? What could you do with all that money? The entire purpose of all of this is about my personal financial journey and about yours. I want to be a part of it in any way that I can to help. So if you feel there's a topic that you would like to hear about, please comment below, subscribe, follow me, share this video with a friend if you think it'll help them as well. I appreciate all of the feedback and encouragement.